You're watching FISCalTv.
Good afternoon, and welcome to FISCalTv. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jim Caselli. On today's show, we have some FISCal Learning Center updates, a new FLC commercial, some PeopleSoft upgrade information. SCO's Ted Lambert has an SCO SARD overview, and FISCal's Steve Arend will be here to tell us all about asset management. Let's get today's show started with some new and updated training content that's recently been added to the FISCal Learning Center. Job aids and material. I have some good news and some more good news regarding job aids. The good news is that over 30 job aids have been recently updated. The more good news is that I'm not going to read them all to you right now. You can find a list of updated job aids in an email that was sent on Friday, September 8th. You can also log into the FISCal Learning Center at the address on your screen and click on the See What's New tile to see the list of updated job aids. Videos. How to complete a flipped classroom curriculum is new, and FISCalTv, episode 47, August 2023 is new. Link and login information. You can access the FISCal Learning Center at the address on your screen. If you have any questions, please contact the FISCal Client Training section at FISCal Learning Center at fiscal.ca.gov. Remember, the FLC is limited to authorized users. Please log in using your FISCal credentials. The FLC has a new commercial for us. Let's watch.
Good morning, class. Today we are going to learn a couple of methods to register for AVILT in the FLC.
Excuse me. What's AVILT? And what is the FLC?
Great questions. AVILT is a virtual instructor-led training. They are engaging, live, fully online classes led by knowledgeable FISCal trainers. And the FLC is the FISCal Learning Center, a one-stop shop for all your FISCal learning needs.
Online classes with qualified instructors. Sounds good. How do we sign up?
There are two methods you can use to sign up. Here are the steps for method 1. Step 1. From the Welcome page, select View ILT Event List under View Calendar in the Find Learning Content section. Here is the View ILT Event List. Step 2. Select the title of the course you wish to attend. Here is where you select the title of the course. Step 3. Scroll to the bottom of the event page and select the View Details button for the course you wish to attend. Here is the View Details button. If there are no upcoming sessions, then there will not be any sessions listed on this page. Step 4. Select the Request button on the Sessions Detail page. Here is the Request button. Now, let's go over the steps for method 2. From the Welcome page, select See Calendar under View Calendar in the Find Learning Content section. Here is the See Calendar button. View the calendar, then click on the title of the course you wish to attend. Click the title of the course you wish to attend. Step 3. Select the Request button for the title of the course you wish to attend. Here is the request button. Congratulations! You have now successfully registered for a virtual instructor-led training course in the FISCal Learning Center. If you are ready to sign up, just go to the FISCal Learning Center.
Thanks to the FLC for that. And you can watch this commercial again when we post this episode of FISCalTv to our YouTube channel in a couple of days. In early October, the Department of FISCal will be implementing an upgrade to the underlying technology for the PeopleSoft application within the FISCal system. This upgrade will improve performance and enhance security. It will not change the functionality of the system you are currently using. However, there are cosmetic changes to the search and process monitor pages that will affect your navigation experience. To provide a seamless transition for our end users, FISCal will provide videos to explain these changes. We will also be working on updating all of the job aids and learning objects in the FISCal Learning Center. Please watch for additional emails providing more details as this upgrade is implemented. We appreciate your continued patience during this transition. SCO's Ted Lambert is here with us again today. Here's Ted. Ted, thanks again for joining us today on FISCalTv.
Hey, it's great to join you again, Jim.
So I understand that you're going to give us a SARD overview today.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to talk a little bit about SARD.
Okay, take it away.
All right. So I wanted to take an opportunity to talk about the State Accounting and Reporting Division, also called SARD, at the State Controller's Office. Right now, I think an overview will be helpful to FISCalTv viewers as we roll out future improvements on behalf of our agency partners. SARD has recently completed a reorganization or a reorg, and now is a perfect time to share what we're doing. General overview, SARD performs statewide accounting and budgeting control functions, as well as financial reporting for the state of California. There are 4 bureaus in SARD that I'm going to talk about. The first one is cash management. The Bureau of Cash Management tracks state revenues, disbursements, and borrowable resources, which is essentially the cash position for the state. This is an instrumental resource for bondholders and rating agencies. Our team works in close coordination with the Treasurer's Office and Department of Finance to move and reconcile the state's cash in order to meet all of our payment obligations. The second bureau I'm going to talk about is state government reporting. This group prepares and publishes the annual comprehensive financial report, also referred to as the ACFR, as well as budgetary legal basis annual report. They also prepare other audited financial reports, OPEB, pension, and these reports are keys needed by the state to access financial markets. Notably, year-end financial reports for state departments were due to the SCO on August 31st, and those reports form the basis for the ACFR and budgetary legal. The third bureau that I wanted to talk about is the Bureau of Accounting and Consulting. It includes fiscal control, which is currently the fiscal control for the state's accounting book of record. Before we moved to FISCal, they're currently the group that performs the fiscal control. The other is payroll fiscal control and consulting, which processes Department of Finance requests. The fourth bureau is Fiscal Systems and Transactions, or BFAST. This is where we implement statutory control agency functions within FISCal. This is the group that loads the budget in the state's current book of record. This is also where we launched our agency transaction unit in order to consolidate transaction workload in one central bureau. And so the question that some of you may have is why the reorg? One thing we wanted to do is streamline daily operations and increase efficiencies. We wanted to, within internally and externally, clarify roles and responsibilities and allow all our bureaus to focus on their core functions. We wanted to remove barriers for departmental work streams, and we feel like we've done that with this reorg. Now the reorg is complete, I wanted to follow up on a few items from our partner departments. Last month, we sent out our monthly email. We included a Survey Monkey and a link to opt into our listserv. We encourage you to sign up for the listserv. We think it's really important. It will allow you to receive news directly from our office when we need to send it out. Just in general, we plan on sending out a monthly email to give any updates that we think are important to departments. You can also find the listserv in the search browser on the SEO homepage by entering SARD email subscription service. So if you get a chance and you haven't signed up for the listserv, please do that. Lastly, I wanted to thank all those that provided input on our survey last month. We did get a fair amount of responses, and if you get a chance to go back to that email and provide any responses, as we roll out future upgrades, we will continue to ask your feedback to better assess our efforts and meet your expectations. Jim, that's all I have for now. I will send it back to you.
Ted, thanks so much for that great information. Just repeat one more time where people can go if they want more SEO SARD information.
Okay, so if you're looking for our email or listserv, if you go to the SEO homepage and enter SARD email subscription service, and you can sign up for our listserv there.
Okay, great. And you're going to be sending emails out every month. I think that's a great idea to get that feedback.
Yeah, we're going to send it out a monthly basis. We want to keep all of our partners as updated as possible. And if there's any changes or anything we think that's important to share, we will make sure that gets out on a monthly basis.
That's great to know. Thanks again for being with us today.
Thanks, Jim.
I recently sat down with FISCal's Steve Arend to talk about asset management. Here's that conversation. Steve, welcome to FISCalTv. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Well, it's great to be here, Jim. Thanks for having me.
We always ask our guests to give a little bit of their background before we start with their interview. So how about filling us in with that?
Yeah, sure. I've been a state employee for over 29 years now, the last 10 of which have been with FISCal. And specifically, I've been in the asset management division for the last 7 years, since 2016.
Okay. So today you're going to talk to us about asset management. And I know that we're going to start with the 5 W's. And of course, we'll go through all of those. And the first W is what? What is asset management?
Okay, well, asset management's a module that's used by the state. It's a mechanism that's used to provide accurate records for acquisition, maintenance, control, and disposition of state property. If the users want to, and they can look up State Administrative Manual, Chapter 8600, which is the purpose and objectives of property accounting. There's various sections in that chapter that reference asset management. But the main, where it kicks off, the main section is SAM 8601, where its overall description is that generally property refers to all assets used in governmental operations, including infrastructure, land, and buildings, improvements, machinery, furniture, tools, and various intangibles. So that is the overall view of what.
Okay. Now let's move on to the second W, which is why. Why do we create an asset?
Well, the reason we create assets is that the state requires it. Going back to SAM section 8650, that requires departments that they maintain a record of state property, whether it's capitalized or not, in a property accounting or an inventory system. Departments must maintain adequate control over assets that are considered high risk and sensitive also. And that's referenced in SAM section 8603. Also, additionally, SAM section 8660 requires that all capital assets are included in year-end financial reports 18 and 19.
Okay, so that takes us to the third W, when. When do we need to create an asset?
Okay, so all assets that are considered to be capital assets, according to the SAM section 8602, those are required to be entered into FISCal. And the capital asset, those are assets with a total cost of $5,000 or more. And the capital assets, they have an associated depreciation and useful life. And they also additionally have accounting and financial entries in the FISCal system. So those are required. Capital assets are required to be in FISCal. Now, non-capital assets it's recommended that all non-capital assets are entered into FISCal. And that's in accordance with SAM section 8603 and 8650. So non-capital assets are have a total cost of less than $5,000. And non-capital assets do not have any associated depreciation or useful life or financial entries in FISCal. But the importance of having them in the system as well is for inventory purposes.
Steve, that takes us to who? Who creates and maintains assets?
Okay, we have 5 roles in our asset management module that maintain and create and maintain assets. The department AM processor, they're the person that would directly enter into asset management module manually. They process assets originating from purchasing, accounts payable, and or project costing. They view asset information as well with this role, and they also are able to manage physical and financial information associated with assets that are under their control, meaning within their department. Then there's the department AM manager, and that's strictly a view-only a role for looking at financial information, although they are able to make adjustments and revisions to physical information related to assets, such as serial ID, location, things of that nature. The next role is a department AM manager, and they manage both physical and financial information associated with assets, but they are not able to actually add the assets in the system. That is the department AM processor. So the AM manager, they can run depreciation calculation on an ad hoc basis. They can run the depreciation close process each month, and they can do the asset transactions such as the retirements, the reinstatements, the cost adjustments. Very often departments will, you're not limited as a department to a single role for a single individual. So a department AM manager role and a department AM processor role go hand in hand. And a lot of departments like to assign staff to both of those roles. Additionally, there's a couple other roles in asset management. We have the Department AM confidential user, and that role is used, it enables the user to see the two, view the two fields in asset management that are confidential fields, the VIN, vehicle identification number field, and the asset class field. So typically, if you're a fleet manager, you would have a Department AM confidential user role, so you can see the vehicle identification number for your fleet assets. Okay. The last role in the system is a Department AM Approver 1 and 2, and those are strictly used for approval of inter-unit transfers. They're workflow-only rules that are used when a department would transfer an asset to another department within the state. If departments are interested in learning more about the roles, your departmental liaison can work with the FISCal on the various roles that are available. But those are the AM roles. I should mention additionally that there is a purchasing role that creates assets in the purchase orders and purchase requisitions. And that would be a PO buyer. And so those are the folks with departments that are going in and creating purchase orders and purchase requisitions.
Okay, that brings us to the last W, where. Where are assets created and maintained?
Okay, there's actually 3 places where assets are created and maintained. The first one is they are can be created manually by the AM processor going directly into the asset management module in either basic add or express add. That's where they can create the assets. Additionally, a PO buyer in the procurement division, it's very important that they are able to create assets as well, because once an asset is created correctly in a purchase order, it will flow automatically over into the asset management module after the processes come through. So the PO buyer can create assets as well. And the third role, or the third, I should say, the third way that assets can be created are through the conversion process. When a new department is onboarding into FISCal and they are uploading their existing assets, they can be entered into the system via the interface and conversion process. So those are the 3 ways that assets come into the system. As far as the maintaining of an asset, that is strictly done in asset management by the asset processors and the AM processor and or the AM manager.
Okay, Steve, thank you for taking us through the 5 W's. I know you wanted to talk about the importance of asset profile IDs.
Yeah, Jim, I do. Asset profile IDs are probably the single most important field related to assets in FISCal. What they're used for is for determining asset accounts and assets that they're recorded on. They're also used to determine which assets are reported on report 18 and 19 at fiscal or at end of the year end, I should say. Asset profile IDs also determine the depreciation and useful life of an asset. So it's very important to always enter an asset profile ID for assets in FISCal. This is kind of twofold. When the PO buyer is creating requisitions or purchase orders, there's fields for them to enter the asset profile ID in the system when they're creating those documents. It's very important that they do that. or the assets will not flow across into asset management. And then additionally, the AM processor, when they are manually entering an asset in basic add or express add, there is an asset, a profile ID field that they can enter the profile ID in for those assets as they are creating them. But the asset profile IDs are very important. There's approximately currently 85 asset profile IDs. There's only one asset profile ID for any non-capital asset that's entered in the system. It's called non-cap. And what it does, Jim, is it denotes the asset as being a non-cap asset, so it does not depreciate when there are no accounting entries associated with the asset in the system. The system will recognize that. The rest of the profile IDs, and that is for any asset that's a non-capital asset, they will always use the non-cap profile ID. For any of the other capital assets, they have their own individual asset profile IDs. There's a real good job aid we have at FISCal that goes into depth discussing asset profile IDs. It's a job aid FISCal 002. And it lists all the different profile IDs, what their useful lives are. And it speaks to the SAM sections that I have alluded to earlier. And it also has some screenshots that show how the PO buyer, what they need to do as far as entering the profile IDs in their purchase requisitions or purchase orders.
Okay. And talk to us a little bit about reports and queries for asset management.
Okay, yeah. What I'm going to primarily focus on here are the asset audit report. We have a few years ago, we decided to develop some reports that were a little more user-friendly than what initially was quote unquote out of the box reports that came with the asset management module. So we developed the asset audit report, the asset inventory report, and the asset information report. The asset audit report is a report that it lists all various purchase orders and vouchers that have been created within a specific time frame. And we highly recommend that this report be run constantly or as often as needed by a departmental PO approver, so they can look and determine if there's any discrepancies in any purchase orders that have been generated within the specific time frame that the report has run for. The report will list each individual purchase order line by line, and so the PO approver can make the determination if there's a line that maybe should have been classified as a profile, as a capital asset, but wasn't, or a line item that should have been capitalized or classified as a non-capital asset, but wasn't, based on profile ID or cost, things of that nature. So we really recommend that departments use this asset audit report, because they can, if they run it constantly, when POs are initially generated, the PO approver can look at the report, and if there's discrepancies that need revising, they can let the PO buyer know that they will not be approving their purchase order until things are cleaned up as far as how the assets go. So a lot of problems can be nipped in the bud early on through use of the asset audit report. The next report I want to touch on is the asset information report. It's got 24 different components to it. It's in Excel format, as all three of these reports are in Excel format, so they're very easy to filter. And they're very easy to run as well. The asset information report includes all assets that are active within the time frame parameters specified when running the report. And it has some information related to accumulated depreciation, which is helpful to assets to know where their asset stands as far as a net book value standpoint. We'll also reference depreciation expense too in this report. So it's a real good report from looking at some various asset information. The last report I wanted to speak to is actually what I consider to be the most important report in asset management, because it's called the asset inventory report. Here again, it's an Excel format. It lists 58 components of asset information. And so it can be used, what it shows the departments is every asset that they have in FISCal. So, and it doesn't matter if it's an active asset, if it's in service, or if it's been disposed. An asset will never leave the system, even if it's disposed. The asset ID will always be in the system. It'll just have a status of disposed. So it has any number of different 58, like I said, 58 different components. You can filter it by status. You can filter by cost. You can filter it by chart field values, asset type, transaction date, counting date, its disposal date. You can filter it by profile ID. So if a department just wants to look at their fleet assets, that sort of thing. It's a real good report, and we've gotten a real enthusiastic response over the years since we came out with the asset inventory report. It gives departments that they can get a handle on, what it is they actually have in FISCal.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty comprehensive report. Now, Steve, I know you mentioned a couple of job aids, but let's quickly go over resources for our end users that would like to learn more and get some help along with their asset management.
Yeah, sure, Jim. My go-to spot I would recommend is the FISCal Learning Center. Okay, and that in the FISCal Learning Center, you'll find a large repository of various asset management job aids. And in addition to that, you'll find what are called online classes. We used to call those user productivity kits, but there's various online classes available to the users. It's very user-friendly, and people have done a lot of work at FISCal on getting the FISCal Learning Center up and running for departments, and it can be used for all modules, obviously, not just asset management. It's a very good repository for departments to reference. Also, in addition to that, I just want to make mention that if you don't really find what you're looking for in the FISCal Learning Center, if users unsure of a transaction that they're trying to do in FISCal, we highly recommend that users just send us FISCal Service Center tickets, FSC tickets, with their issue, and we will assign it to one of our subject matter experts in asset management, and we'll get back to you and work with you on any resolution or take you through any steps you may need, that sort of thing. We just ask the departments, if they can, when they do create an FSC ticket, that they put as much information as they can in the ticket that will help us do our analysis.
Steve, that's a lot of great resources for our end users. I've taken a look at what you were talking about, the online classes and all the job aids. There's quite a bit of info there.
Yes, there is, Jim. We've worked hard at FISCal to develop the FISCal Learning Center with all the materials and the references that I just spoke to. In addition, I'd just like the users to know that submitting FISCal Service Center tickets is also a good option. If you're going through a process or a task and you're unsure of how to enter it in FISCal, don't hesitate to send us in FSC tickets, and we will assign it to one of our subject matter experts, and we'll get back to you and see if we can't reach a correct resolution for you. I just want to add one thing. If the users could give us as much information as possible when they do submit the tickets, asset ID numbers if they have it, specifics related to what it is they're trying to do, that always helps us kick off our analysis.
Well, it sounds like you got all the bases covered. And once again, that's great for our end users. So, Steve, thanks very much for being with us today. Appreciate all the great information.
You're welcome, Jim. Take care.
That's our show for today. I'd like to thank Ted Lambert and Steve Arend for being with us. I'd also like to thank you for watching. If you would like to see this or any of our FISCalTv episodes, you can find them on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to let your colleagues know about us, and from everyone here at FISCalTv, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you on October 26th.